For an ad-free listening experience and more stories, please check out Sleep Tight Premium. A link can be found in our show notes. Thank you. Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. Nicole cannot believe her eyes that her garden is growing. Every time she talks to the flowers and plants, they grow. When her mom wants her to leave the garden and go to town, she doesn't want to until she hears there is ice cream and Wi-Fi. When she gets back and takes the key from the barn, she wonders, will it actually open the door? Nicole and the Box in the Barn, Part 5. Nicole hid her head in the pillow, trying to avoid the beam of light streaming in through her drafty window. It seemed to be following her. Nicole reluctantly opened one eye, squinted at the clock in her room, and sighed. It was time to get up. And there was nothing more annoying than being told it was time to get up in the morning when you were already awake but didn't want to move. Nicole and her mom arrived home after dark from what her mother called a successful afternoon in the big city. Nicole wasn't so sure, but she did have the most delicious triple scoops of ice cream ever. She also had a chance to sit and catch up with the hundreds of messages that her friends had sent her at a cafe with Wi-Fi, while her mother wrote emails and drank coffee. Later, they went for burgers, which were okay. Nicole sighed and sat up in her bed. It's chilly in this old house in the morning. We need better heating or something, she said, as she jumped across the room to grab her sweatshirt and put on her dirty jeans. I guess I can wear these. No one will see me out here in the middle of nowhere anyway. She walked down the stairs to the kitchen, the stairs with their creaks and cracks announcing that she was up. There was no surprising her mother, who was already up drinking coffee and making breakfast. "Good morning, sleepyhead. Did you sleep well?" her mother asked, as she put some eggs on a plate for Nicole to eat. "Any ketchup?" was Nicole's grumpy reply. "You really aren't much of a morning person, are you, sweetie? And no, I won't get you ketchup. We don't put ketchup on beautiful scrambled eggs." I slept okay, I guess. I have to remember to nail those curtains of mine shut so the sun won't come streaming in on my face in the morning. It's very annoying, Nicole said as she took a sip of tea. Nicole started drinking tea last year, partly because her mother wouldn't let her drink coffee. She was too young for coffee, her mother said. Coffee was yucky anyway. "I'm going to be working in the living room today, patching and painting. I might assemble some shelves too. I don't think I need your help, but I sure could use your company if you would like to join me. We could even listen to your music while we work," Nicole's mother said, while she put some strawberry jam on her toast. Nicole wanted to spend time with her mother, but all she could think about was her garden and what might happen if she opened the door. She dreamt about it all night, and it was foremost on her mind, even when chatting with her friends yesterday. "Maybe," Nicole replied, "but first, I think I would like to work in my garden. It's a super nice day outside, even though the house feels icy cold, and all the sunshine puts me in a better mood. Could I help after lunch or something?" "I can't argue against getting some sun. The combination of sun and fresh, salty air sure cures all your troubles. I'll try to get all the painting done this morning, and then maybe you can help me put together the shelves. You always have more patience than I do when it comes to putting those things together." "Okay, Mom, sounds like a plan." Nicole got up from the table and put her plate in the dishwasher. She grabbed a bottle of water and tiptoed across the floor to the back porch to put on her once-upon-a-time favorite sneakers. "You wouldn't find the house so cold if you wore socks in the morning, silly," her mother said from the kitchen. "Okay, Mom, see you later," Nicole replied as she ran outside, the door slamming behind her. The dew was still heavy on the grass as Nicole ran towards the barn. It no longer bothered her, but as the grass was getting long, she knew there would be a request to cut it soon. Someone always came to cut their little patch out back of their house in Montreal. Most of their backyard was a garden in varying states of use. They weren't tidy gardeners. She made it to the big red doors and paused to see if her mother was calling out to her. If she did, there would be no way she could get the key from the box today. There was no sound but the ever-present wind. The door to the barn felt a bit lighter, but it creaked when she opened it all the same, revealing an inside full of dust, dirt, and old stale hay. Nicole plugged her nose with her fingers. It still stunk of farm animals, even though the barn hadn't been used in years. "I guess this smell must be permanent," Nicole thought. Nicole saw the box in the corner, under a window right where it had been before. Its hinges seemed to shine brighter than before, like someone had been by to take care of it. She walked slowly over to the box, across the piles of old hay and dirt. She could hear little scratching sounds above her. "Stay up there, mice," she said out loud. "I don't need mice as friends." The box offered no resistance as she opened it, and looking inside, the key, shining brightly like it had just been polished, was right where she left it. "I guess there is only one way to know if this key opens the door at the end of the garden. I'll just have to try," Nicole said as she gently closed the box. Holding the key tightly in her hand, Nicole quickly left the stinky barn behind, her sneakers kicking up puffs of dust as she went. The morning sun felt warm on her back, a pleasant contrast to the chill of the barn and the old house. She hurried across the dewy grass, excited to see if the key worked, and, if it did, what might be revealed on the other side of the door. In one of her dreams the night before, it led to a brick wall. In another, it led to an ice cream parlor with free, all-you-can-eat ice cream. Ice cream would be a great treat, she thought. Walking through the garden gate, Nicole said, "Good morning, roses. Good morning, sunflowers." The flowers moved in response. "Good morning, garden, I guess," Nicole laughed. "I hope no one is listening to me talk to you all. That would be awkward." Nicole walked to the corner of the garden where the wooden doorway was surrounded by trees, tall bushes, and flowering plants. As soon as she arrived, the vines around the door started to bloom. "Well, I guess this is the moment of truth," Nicole said. She tried looking behind the door again to make sure that there was nothing behind it. All she saw were more bushes and trees and the same fog that covered the garden when she looked at it from the house. Nicole felt a bit excited, or maybe a bit nervous. She wasn't sure which. She lifted the key towards the lock. As the key slid into the lock, it fit perfectly, as though it were made just for this moment. Turning the key, she heard the soft click that signaled the door was now unlocked. "Here we go," Nicole said to the garden. She pushed the door open and blinked in surprise. Instead of finding something grand or entirely different, or even just a wall, it seemed like she was looking into another part of her garden, a door that led nowhere. Through the door were the same grassy fields that surrounded the backyard, stretching out under the same blue sky. "Is this it?" Nicole whispered to herself, feeling a twinge of disappointment. She had hoped for something more. Not an ice cream parlor, but something magical or surprising. As Nicole stepped through the door, she immediately felt a difference. The grass under her feet seemed greener, the flowers more vibrant, and the trees fuller and more alive than what she had left behind. It was as if everything on this side of the door had an extra touch of brightness and vitality. Nicole paused, looking back and forth. Yes, the garden was the same in layout, but here, it was as though everything had been given a dose of extra life, glowing softly under the sun's rays. It's like the same place, but so much more alive, she murmured. Turning away from the door, Nicole looked around the farm in amazement. More barns dotted the landscape, and the old barn she had been warned not to enter looked brand new. Its wood was sturdy and fresh, and the paint was bright. Her house, too, seemed to have undergone a transformation, its walls gleaming with fresh paint, looking nothing like the worn, old, creaky place she was accustomed to. And then, the sounds of farm life filled the air. Cows mooing, pigs grunting, chickens clucking, and horses neighing. It was as though she had stepped back in time, 100 years into the past, to see her home in its original, bustling farm glory. Nicole stood still, taking in the sights and sounds. This was much better than anything she had imagined, even the ice cream parlor in her dream. Just then, she spotted a figure in the distance, a boy, moving about confidently as if he belonged here. Nicole watched, curious and a bit cautious. Who was he, and what was he doing here? Could he be a part of this seemingly transformed world she had stumbled into? The boy waved and started walking towards her, giving Nicole a closer look. He looked harmless enough, if a bit dusty, like he had been rolling in the red dirt that was everywhere. He was barefoot, judging by how he walked across the rocky barnyard. His feet were accustomed to the touch of the earth beneath them. He certainly wasn't stylish compared to what the kids wore in Montreal, and his faded pants were patched in a few places. He looked familiar somehow, with his freckles and messy red curls on his head. "G'day there," the young boy said as he waved to her again. "Are you lost?" Nicole, a bit speechless, waved back. "Hi, my name is Angus. You certainly don't look like you are from around here. Are you visiting from away and got lost, out wandering the fields?" "Something like that. My name is Nicole. I am from Montreal originally." "Wow, I don't think I have ever met anyone from a big city before. You have to come to meet my mom. She traveled here on a boat, so she knows all about people from a big city." "Angus, I need you over here, boy," said a rather stern voice. "Coming," Angus yelled. "You wait here, and after I finish helping my father, we can have some dinner. My mother is a great cook, and I wouldn't be surprised if she baked a pie today." Nicole watched as Angus ran towards what used to be the old rickety barn and disappeared inside. "This is a bit much," she said to herself. Feeling a bit overwhelmed, she decided it was best to step back through the door and give herself time to think. Just as she crossed through, she heard her mother's familiar voice calling her for lunch. Revisiting the door and what was beyond would be best on a full stomach. And that is the end of this part. Good night. Sleep tight.